two.
Yes, it's on.
Mic
Okay, I
check,
heard
1,
that.
2.
Yeah, I think we just need some tape for Londiwe, please.
Mic check, 1,
I
2.
think also
1, 2,
Talisha's
1, 2.
one.
Do you also want a bit more tape?
Yeah,
Yeah, check.
yeah,
Mic
just a bit
check,
more
1,
tape for
2.
Talisha as well. Awesome.
He's gone back. He's mixing design right now.
Or maybe he's just going to increase the volume a bit.
Yes.
Okay. Go again. Test, test.
Mic check. 1, 2.
Oh, okay.
Mic
As
check,
as
1,
everyone
2.
speaks. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Londiwe's
Mic
one is
check.
just pretty low.
Mic check, 1, 2.
So that's why we were thinking the tape
Mic check.
might help.
Mic check, 1, 2.
Londiwe and Talisha, please. Talisha.
Mic check, 1, 2.
So what did you do earlier for Freedom Day?
I was mostly just doing my projects because I
Mic
have
check,
5
1,
of them
2.
right now.
Mic
Yeah.
check, 1, 2.
And I had a phone
Mic
call with
check,
my
1, 2,
parents in
1, 2.
Cape
Mic
Town.
check, 1, 2.
Oh, okay.
No problem.
Oh, are you from Cape Town?
No, I'm from Victoria. They just had better opportunities that
Then
side. So
Zimkita
they
Oh,
yours
in
is fine,
Cape
right?
Town.
and left me
Yes.
this side.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. And you, what did you
I was at the hospital.
Oh no.
doing what?
I slept there last night.
Girl. Talisha.
What happened?
I had an asthma attack. Then I used the nebulizer at home. Then it just resulted into like a heavy heart. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
You'll just let us know.
And you're still here.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Today.
This is power.
You are, I'm fine.
Sheer
Practice
strength.
one of those
It's
things.
Well done, well done. Clock it. Clock it, clock it, clock it. Yes. We love
Yeah.
it.
Good. Good that you're here. Yeah.
It means we had to hear your experiences and
Yeah.
contributions. You had to be here.
Yeah. Good.
We're good to go? You'll just give me the thumbs up, team. Is the live stream on and ready? We're just waiting for the TV.
Oh, there it is.
It's a really nice place, huh?
Yes, most definitely.
Awesome, fantastic. Dumelang, Sanbonani, goeie aand and good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on this evening of Freedom Day 2026 for what is going to be yet another insightful BackChat conversation. Today, we are going beyond fee-free education and truly exploring what is the meaning of freedom to students in today's day and age. What are their experiences and if their constitutional rights are being met? Where are the gaps? Where are we falling short? And how can we move forward together? That's the important part of today's conversation. As always, we are of course joined by the Minister of Higher Education and Training, Mr. Buti Manamela. Thank you so much for availing yourself. It's been a good day so far, hopefully.
It's been a good day.
A good out of
It's been
10.
hectic, but yeah.
Out of 10, how much are you giving the day?
Because there's still some time left.
Okay.
For now, I'll give it a 7.
A 7. Watch this
Let's see
conversation.
how this
Bump
goes.
it up to a 10. 100%. What would a BackChat conversation be, though, without the voices of the youth? So we've got 7 amazing people here to present, or rather represent the students and to share their experiences, which will hopefully help us move forward and see how, as a unity, we can really contribute towards a shift in the conversation. I'll explain that a little bit more. I'm going to kick things off with my right. Mila, please tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, and if you prefer being outside or inside. Are you outdoorsy or indoorsy?
I'm a bit of both.
Oh,
I
okay.
enjoy a hike, but I also enjoy a good book.
You love a hike? How far have you gone?
I think it was a 50 kilometer we did back in
50 kilometers,
in
Mila.
one day. My sister wanted to see the marble
Yo.
baths.
Mila, 50. Okay, we'll talk about that after. It's fine. Tell us a bit about yourself. What are you studying? Where?
So I am studying civil engineering
Okay.
at TUT, Pretoria West Campus, and I'm in my third and final year, hopefully.
No, not hopefully. You are finishing it. Don't try us. Definitely. Hopping on over to Talisha. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Tell us a bit about yourself and if you are indoorsy or outdoorsy.
I'll start off by saying I'm an indoor person.
Okay.
I don't like socializing with people that much.
Yo, so we are
As
really
much as
pushing
I have
you.
a YouTube channel, I don't do
Wow.
that.
Oh, Talisha.
Yeah, I'm a postgrad student in supply chain management at Tshwane University of Technology.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll hop on over to, of course, the lovely lady in all black. Don't forget, are you indoorsy or outdoorsy?
Definitely indoors.
Okay.
My name is Devakshar. I'm in my 6th year of architecture,
Wow.
and yeah.
How stressful is it being an architect? I feel like not enough credit is given to you guys. I feel like they say you just draw, but even if a centimeter is off, I don't know, I'm stressed.
Well, that's kind of a perception that most people have, that
Okay.
we just draw, but the practice
Yeah.
is actually about design, and more so looking at design from a human perspective. So
Oh.
we're designing specifically for people.
Oh, I never thought of it that way. It's an interesting perspective you have. Wow, thank you so much. I look forward to hearing more of your guys' perspectives. I'm hopping on over to my left-hand side. Londiwe, tell us a bit about yourself, please. Don't forget, outdoorsy or indoorsy.
Hi, my name is Nonceba Mhlauli. I'm from TVET College, South Campus. I'm indoor. basically.
Indoorsy.
Yes.
Okay, what do you like? What's your favorite activity inside? Movies, reading? Which one are you?
I like reading books.
Oh, nice.
sometimes,
Okay.
And music.
Ah,
my favorite.
so when I was at the dance party inside Uliwani, you are
Yes,
there
I
having a
love
great
and
time.
singing gospel.
Okay.
That's why I'm perfect.
Mina nawe. So
Gospel.
Kuluma after here. Don't worry. We'll talk. Don't worry. Zimkita, please tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Nkita Mzina from Tshwane North College, the South Campus. I'm currently doing management assistant N4.
Okay. And then indoorsy, outdoorsy?
I would like to say I'm indoors.
Indoorsy. Am I the only person who's outdoorsy here? Where? Okay. And then what's your favorite activity? Like reading? Are you also joining Londiwe with her dance parties indoorsy?
Yeah, I think I would be exploring things on my phone, like on social media.
Ah, okay. Okay, makes sense. All right, no stress. Boitumelo, let's wrap things up with you. Tell us a bit more about yourself.
My name is Buti Manamela. I'm a student at Peter Lingeni CFC under Gauteng CET College. So I'm a bit of both.
Okay.
So I'm a musician.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I like socializing, and of course I'll be out performing, but indoors I like reading books. I feel like there's always something that you can do indoors to educate yourself.
Yes, very
Yes,
true.
so,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, lovely. Mr. Buti, I have to ask you also. Indoorsy, outdoorsy, which one are you?
I would say outdoors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like camping outdoors or just a walk in the park outdoors?
Hikes.
Oh, okay.
Running and also meet people, going to markets. Yeah, that kind of vibe.
Okay, but are you Mila's level? Mila did a
With
50K
hiking.
and a hike. 50K, Mr. Put.
Yeah.
50K. Let's imagine everybody 50K.
It's not
Then-
that bad.
It was bad, Mila.
Yeah.
Ah.
It was 50 or 25. I can't really remember that
25,
much. But
25.
it was a whole day. You get there at 4 and you come back.
Where
at the
was
same
it?
time
In the
as well.
Drakensberg?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was
It
to the
was
marble
Beautiful
box.
sites, exactly.
Ah, it was 50K.
Yeah, I also did some, well, not 50Ks, but some of the mountains in there.
25-ish.
Somewhere there.
Yeah.
It's long.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I think we did. It was 14 on the one day and maybe 20, 21 on the other day,
Oh,
something like that.
Guys, this
But
is
it
us
was-
going this way, ne?
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are going,
yeah,
we are
yeah,
going
yeah,
up
yeah.
this way.
But
No,
I
it
mean
was
the
up, down,
yeah.
up, down. Then it's
Yeah.
coming down again.
But the views are amazing.
Okay.
I mean, being out there and so it's quite amazing. try it.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
try it.
you
I'll
can
give it a shot.
self-observe.
Bring your gospel music with
Me and Londy will play our
Yeah,
gospel
exactly.
music. Yeah, I don't mind a run.
Yeah.
I don't mind
Actually,
I
some
can do a run.
people in one of the hikes,
Yeah.
one of the hikers I was with started singing a gospel song because
They
it was
needed
so
the
tough.
motivation.
Exactly, yeah. So
They needed the
you never
motivation.
know, yeah.
I think I can join you guys maybe for a run. Yeah, who can do a bit of a run? Maybe like a 2K.
Yeah,
Buti Manamela, you already
2K.
shaking your head.
I'm not a person running. I run with my voice.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, sorry, Buti Manamela. Okay. So I'm Joy, Joy Fagute. I'm a postgrad student. I'm currently doing my B.Ed honors. So I specialize with the tiny humans, the ones that usually don't have teeth, that are like, she stole my pencil. Those are my people. I love them so much, and I'm learning more and more how I can be a best teacher to them. So that's what I'm focusing on. But for today, I'm going to be the facilitator for today's conversation, and I look forward to it. I think it's going to be quite the insightful conversation. Joining us live from the UK is the CEO of Higher Health. He unfortunately couldn't be here due to work commitments, but he is part of the stream, and I'm very sure he's going to have some questions also contributing to the conversation. So thank you so much, Prof, for joining us online. Now, today's conversation is quite an important one because if freedom can be defined in many ways, but I think the fundamentals of it is that it's one's ability to think, to act, and to express themselves as freely as you want, without restraint. And I think that is something so important and impactful when we start thinking of it in a constitutional or democratic way, because freedom, in the context of South Africa, carries much more deep meaning. You know, now it's no longer about I can do whatever I want. It's now related to dignity. It's now related to equality. It's now related to the access that I have, access to various opportunities. And I think today's conversation is going to be an important one, especially so in the postgrad education sector. I mean, most of the conversations that have been happening have been centered around free education. But now we're beyond that. We've taken many strides to expand access, and many policies have assisted us in that way. Policies such as the fee-free education for qualifying students, of course. But access alone doesn't really equate to freedom. I think we can all agree to that, hence why this conversation is so important. And so I want you to really share the experiences that you have, because that helps us see what we can do to move forward. Yeah, we're gonna identify some gaps. We're gonna push some buttons, we're gonna provoke some people, but I think it's important to acknowledge that that is how we grow. That's what helps us move forward. Not as you did this and you didn't do that, but helping each other identify where we're falling short, holding hands with one another and saying, okay, let's take the next step. How can we fix it, and let's fix it together? Actually, and I want you to do this also at home, just say it out loud. I want you quickly to turn to the person next to you and say, yeah, things are gonna be tough. Say that to the person next to you.
Things
are gonna be
Things are gonna be tough. But it's you and me against the problem. Say that to your neighbor. You're saying it out loud at home. Yes. Say to your neighbor, it's you and me against the problem.
It's you and me against the problem.
I love it. I think that's the perfect note to kickstart our conversation. And I'm going to kick things off with you, Londiwe. And this is a question for everybody, you know. In your experience, your campus experience, what does freedom mean to you? Through your lived experiences and through your lived experiences on campus specifically, what does freedom mean to you? Londiwe, do you want to kick us off?
Okay, somebody.
You want to think about it a little bit more, okay? But Dumila's giving me the eyes. So, think about it for a bit though, you know? It's a tough question to break down, but through the experiences that you have, what does freedom mean? On campus, while you're going to your classes, while you're engaging with friends, while we're just chilling on the grass, you know, sometimes you just, varsity gets a lot. You need to just sit on the grass. While you're sitting there, what is that experience? How does that tie to freedom? Talisha, I'm going to pick on you.
Okay, so for me personally, freedom is me basically being able to express myself, even in the midst of a crowd, and stand my ground.
Yeah.
So the sharing of your thoughts,
Yes.
your ideas,
Being
even
able
if,
to speak up
Yeah.
for myself.
even if you're the only one.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Mila, what about you? What does it mean for you?
For me, it almost feels the same, but also that you can learn what you want to and that you're not limited to a specific thing. Even if you are a civil engineering student, you can also
Yeah.
read up about architecture or environmental studies and
Yeah.
things like that, because you aren't just limited to the box that you started with.
Yeah,
You
so
can
that-
expand.
that space for growth
Yes.
is what you love most about it and what it means for you. That's quite interesting. I mean, I've had so many conversations with friends, and that ties with what we spoke about slightly earlier, Buti Manamela, of not wanting to just go to varsity for the sake of, well,
Yes.
I have to go to varsity, you know, but actually having the opportunity to maybe shift and change and move around. I had a friend who started in education, but then later on realized, Toriano, these tiny humans are a lot, eh? And they're a lot of energy, so they decided to switch, and that's the freedom you're talking about. I love that. What about you, Buti Manamela? What does it mean for you?
Freedom for me means so much, right? I'm coming from a CLC under the Gauteng CET College,
Yeah.
where we are struggling with infrastructure. So freedom for me means being able to go to a school with infrastructure. I feel like education is very important, right? And it would be really fair for all of us to go to schools where we are not underrated, right?
Yeah.
Where freedom is equal, rights are equal, because we are really struggling with infrastructure. It's a very huge problem in our CET,
Yeah.
because, you know, going to a center where you go into a class, you don't even have learning material, right? You don't have your smart board, things that we see in your universities and TVET colleges.
Yeah.
So I think freedom to me means good education,
Yeah.
fair education for all. Yes.
Across the board, everyone having the
Yes,
same level, the
most
same
definitely.
standard, so that we're all given the same starting point at the
Yes.
at the race, essentially, right? Yeah. What about you, Londiwe? What does it mean for you?
Freedom. Okay, freedom.
Can we hear Londiwe? Is the sound
check,
perhaps
1,
slightly
2.
down?
Mic check 1, 2.
Oh, good. Yeah, we can pick you up.
Freedom makes me know my rights
Mm-hmm.
in education,
Yeah.
the equality and the dignity, and how I can express myself.
Yeah. I love that you're saying that. So I'm the first graduate in my family, and I didn't realize how much dignity that gave the rest of my family members. So that dignity that you're speaking of, that's really what I saw on graduation day, the way the rest of the family kind of lit up. And I didn't realize it before, that this higher education can bring about such reinforced pride in oneself and that dignity that ties to it. That's what you're conveying over.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking
Wow,
about.
I love that. Zinkita, what about you? What does freedom mean for you in the context, of course, your lived experiences on campus?
Yes, ma'am. According to me, freedom gave me the right to be able to express myself, be able to get education, and to break that mentality that people have from our societies that a disabled person is no good, you know. So I'm able to explore I'm able to choose like a different cause that they didn't think I would do as a person, especially as a person living with double disability, you know. Yes, ma'am.
I love that. This ties also with Mila's point of just not being boxed in, being allowed to choose and pick and be free to do whatever it is you want to do. And I love that point for sure. Can I wrap things up with you? What about you? What is your idea from your lived experiences of what freedom means to you?
For me, freedom is the ability to pursue your passions
Yeah.
without restriction and without hesitation.
Yeah, I love that. That's also an important point of I think there's also like a fear that comes to it, especially perhaps going into architecture. There's so many, you must be able to do this and you should be able to do that. So being allowed to learn along the way, learn the process, make the mistakes, but still continue forward, right? Sound team, is everything good? Are we still on the clear? Okay, fantastic. Now, this is a lot of different experiences that we're hearing, but there's still a perspective of how things should be. And I think this is where we can rope you in, Mr. Buti, from like a policy and leadership perspective, how should we understand freedom today in terms of higher education?
Look, so today is 32 Freedom Days
Wow.
that we're celebrating since 1994.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I took the time to look at where we were, with regards to universities, TVET colleges, community colleges, and where we are now.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important that we look at that. We can talk about where we want to go,
Yeah,
which is also
but
important.
the growth, yeah.
But the growth is important. I mean, in 1994, we had about only 400,000 students going to universities. This year, 1.2 million students
Wow.
are going into universities. And and it's by no mistake that, in this conversation, I'm surrounded by women, because 67% of participation rate at universities is women.
Wow.
Yes.
67.
And it's something that we shouldn't take for granted. And the numbers, are similar when you look at TVET colleges, the growth of that sector, and community colleges. And yes, of course, there are a whole lot of challenges, in community colleges that we need to attend to, which, access shouldn't just be about that. It should also be about the quality of the education that you receive. Do you trust the certificate that you're getting? But also, do people out there trust that when you graduate as an architecture, you will be able to design buildings that are sustainable, that speaks to the community, or the ethics of supply chain management, and so on and so forth. So we're not only talking about access, we're also talking about the quality of that education system. There's a big challenge now, yes. 23% of graduates are unemployed, and I think that's a scary number for people who are sitting behind the desk.
Definitely.
And of course, that's an intervention that we, are looking at as to how do we, provide some accelerated training for those graduates. The N4s to N6, the NCVs, who couldn't get workplace placements and so on. So how do we, provide an intervention, specifically for those young people, for instance. So it's not just about access quality, it's also about what happens when I graduate. So, but being on campus, I think one of the major developments has been to create access for students with disabilities who in the past they would have been put in a specialized school or to ensure that we are all properly socialized and we have access to the same education. And of course there's still a lot more that needs to be done, but I think casting our eyes back to where we come from, to where we are now, it gives me confidence that we should be able to deal with some of the problems, into the future. And of course, if you're experiencing them today, now, when someone says, look, we are attending to it, it doesn't seem like fair, but I think that with the progress that we've made, it should be possible, to expand that access, but also to improve on, on the quality of our education, and I think build a better system that serves everyone so that we feel and get attached to that education. And maybe one point is, and I think you spoke about the Constitution, Section 29 of the Constitution guarantees every South African the right to basic education. So that's where that is. And then it says, I think, progressive access to further education. And I think we have put, to a certain extent, instruments to satisfy that right, but a lot more, I think, obviously still needs to be done. We are comparatively, having institutions that can stand shoulder to shoulder with the best in the world. And I think we need to be proud of that. but we shouldn't forget that, you know, being there took hard work, and I think we need to keep that, we need to sustain that.
Yeah. I like what you mentioned about the constitution, but also reflecting back on what has come thus far. I think, you know, it's the conversation many of us have probably had with our LO teacher of what are your rights? And I think as we are reflecting back on the progress we've made thus far, what are some of your guys' rights, switching it back to the students, that you see yourself living, your constitutional right, that you are experiencing yourself living on campus, when you are engaging with people and you're realizing, actually, I'm living out my rights here, you know? I know it reminds me of one day I was in class. It's the module is called Education Studies. And this is where we really break down the fundamentals of really understanding the development of the child's brain. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the brain, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm just thinking a lot of things. But it hit me in that moment that, but not a lot of people are sitting here right now. A lot of people who wanted to be here aren't here, and I think that gave me that wake-up call I needed to maybe further pay attention in class. So having that quick realization of, actually, I'm living out one of my rights here. Have you had a moment like that, or an experience like that, where you're on campus or you're living a campus experience and you realize, actually, I'm living out one of my constitutional rights here? What was that moment for you? Buti Manamela, can you kick us off perhaps with a memory or a situation that you had?
Okay, with my situation, it was back in high school.
Yeah.
Okay, where I was given an opportunity as an LGBTQ member.
Yes.
So having access to that opportunity did give me an insight to think that actually I'm exercising my right.
Yeah.
You know, it's legalized, and as an LGBTQ member, and I'm given an opportunity to participate in this opportunity. So that was really, really awesome for me to experience, because we do come across places where LGBTQ members cannot participate, you know. We are discriminated, we are bullied. So having to participate in that really, really was exciting for me.
Yes. I know at the university I'm at, the University of Johannesburg, we have various committees that are really also part, including the LGBTQAI plus community, the transformation unit, and the works that they're doing to educate the entire university on the different aspects, elements of the LGBTQAI plus community. And I think once you get an understanding of it, you realize it's not something crazy, it's not something scary. I can be your friend. There's no reason for me to see you as other. And I think that's another thing where you realize in that moment, actually, we're exercising our constitutional rights here. It gives you that moment of, actually, hey, this is a real moment I'm living out here. Talisha, I'm going to hop it over to you. What was a memory that you remember from campus life where you're like, actually, I'm living out my constitutional rights here?
Mine was actually recent.
Okay.
This happened last year.
Okay.
I was awarded a bursary from the institution, right?
And lucky girl. Okay. All right, bursary.
So that immediately hit me that, oh, there's a lot of people that wish to have this. A lot of people would have wished to further their studies, but they couldn't. And I was given the opportunity due to my hard work. So it just showed me that I'm living my rights of basic education.
Wow, that is beautiful. Okay, Miss Bursary. Okay. We expect you to be a tutor. Pay it forward. I'm going to hop it over to you, Londiwe. Do you have a memory where you're like, here I'm living my rights here?
Yes, I do have memory at my campus, whereby I started doing NCV.
What's an NCV? Hey, break it down before Slasa. What is that? Yes?
National is an NCV, NCV, yes.
Okay. NCV.
Yeah, so it's National Certificate Vocational.
Oh, okay. All right.
I failed my matric.
Okay.
I was doing science.
Oh, okay. Hey, show me same. Physics, ne?
Yes,
that's
and mathematics. Then I said, I tried to rewrite my matric, but I had someone tell me about
The NCV.
the TVET college. They
Okay.
start from NCV, and I say, okay, let me try it.
Okay,
I
okay.
go there, and I wanted to do transport and logistics, but they didn't accept me there.
Okay.
I did office administration.
Wow, and that moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I did it for 3 years. The NSFAS take over. They pay me everything. I never struggle. Yes, yes. That's where I see that. That's my freedom. I can be able to
Yeah.
have a matric certificate.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And then now I'm doing a management assistance and for.
Girl, stop. You're going to make us cry. Oh my gosh. That is a beautiful story, though.
Yes,
Wow.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So that
Oh yeah, sorry.
yeah. So for those who fail matric, there's still opportunities. You can further your study at TVET College, starting from level 2 until level 4. And in level 4, we have practical.
Oh,
I
really?
went to do practical at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
clinic. Yeah.
And
at
so
the-
it gives you that practical exposure also,
Yes,
kind of
the work
preparing you for the world of
experience,
work.
yes.
Wow, yes.
And I said, let me further my study and do N4. I wanted to go to TUT and do something else, but I just say, let me just go to TVET.
Something's calling you there. Like,
Exactly,
yeah, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I can put at the TVET college. Because most of the people they don't take TVET college students serious. So I said, I want to be an example
I
at
want
my
to show them, yes.
in my community, especially when they see me and say, we can make it. Even though we
Yeah.
don't have matric, we can go there and study further.
We can do it. Londi, we are pusha, namzo pusha.
Yes.
I love it. You were going to say something?
No. I wanted to ask her questions which she has already answered. So
Okay,
I'm fine. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Buti Manamela, what about you? What is a moment? Wait, we went to you. Yes, Nkita. What about you? A moment that you lived on campus that made you realize I'm living and exercising my constitutional right.
Ma'am, I would like to be specific on my case.
Yes.
Since, I'm a student also with low vision. So at campus, we tried fighting for the issue of the gadgets, whereby we have to get assistive devices
Okay.
that will help us to learn. Since we usually get textbook on soft copy, so without those gadgets, it were not going to be easy for us to learn.
Yeah.
So ever since they provided those gadgets for us, everything is much easier. Now we're able to do tasks on time and meet deadlines.
Wow. And in that moment, what was that feeling when they're like, okay, Zinkita, here is the device. This is how you use it. This is how we go about it. What, like, give me the tea, girl. Like, chale okito.
Yes, it was so exciting because we've been long waiting for them. They took long before they could even reach to us. We had to fight, but finally, at the end, then they were able to give those assistive devices to us.
Yeah, wow.
Then everything was much simpler after this. Even though there are still big obstacles that we have, but
Yes,
they're not as before.
Yeah,
much better
It's
now.
you're able to manage and mitigate and move. It's again that thing we said of feeling like you're starting at the start line with everybody. We're all on the same kind of saying like start mark. You know, no one is a little bit behind or a little bit forward or anything like that. We're all equal. I love that story. You're also gonna make us cry. Oh, stop it. I wanna hop on over. Of course, I'm gonna stop wrapping things up with you actually, Luis. Next question, I wanna start with you now. What about you? What is a memory you have where you were exercising your constitutional rights, an on-campus memory?
I would go back as far as second year.
Oh, okay.
So this is quite some time back. I was really young and naive to my rights as a student.
Yeah.
But also how the government actually does assist you. And I think this is like information that it really doesn't reach Indian communities. Like, yes, if you do not have the finances or the capacity to financially assist yourself, there is avenues in which you could be assisted.
So that information doesn't really reach.
It doesn't really
Okay,
reach, you know,
okay.
Indian communities. So in my second year, it was like an understanding that, well, we don't have enough money for 2 children to attend university at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's either you can get funding or you have to wait 4 years until your sister finishes university.
Yeah.
And that's like the general understanding in, our families and how we actually go about doing this. So it's, if we don't have the money to assist you, you now have to work or study or find the funding, right? And that's usually through a bursary. At that point, my best friend and I, we were stuck in the same predicament. Now, we didn't have any funding, but we had first year. So we were like, regardless of what happens, we need to finish this degree, right?
Yeah.
Whether we register and figure out that situation,
as we
at
go
the end
about,
of the year, we're gonna do it, right?
Yes.
We can do it. It got to a point where, the previous year this is happening, and now like the next year, we know we have to set ourselves up.
Okay, so this is
for this.
Towards the end of first year, where you guys are doing this.
We are realizing the situation of next year, and my friend tells me, I don't think I'm coming back next year. And I was like, no, we're coming back next year. We're coming back next year.
Yeah.
We're graduating with the
are
rest of the people that can afford this. It's fine. We'll do it.
Yeah.
So eventually, we asked around campus. We asked like all our friends and stuff. And they eventually pointed us to the right direction. However, come the following year, we were not aware that this is a 6-day line that snaked around the entire campus and went to the next campus.
You mean like first day voting ever, 1990s?
No, worse.
Worse than that? Oh my gosh.
Worse. We were there.
You were there. That one was nothing.
We were there. It was fine then. But
this one.
Registration was another thing. And my friend looks at me and is like, no, I can't do this. I'm getting out of this line. And I was like, firstly, we waited 3 days already.
Yeah.
Why are we leaving this line? We already got a ticket. We're 100 and something. We are staying in this line.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, we got another ticket to come back the next day. And the thing about this waiting in this line is you have to get there at like 5 or 6 in the morning to start joining the line. And the next day, my mom wakes me up. She's like, it's already 6 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I didn't take the bus.
Oh my gosh.
The bus left me, which means I have to take the taxi, which is great because the taxi is faster than the bus.
Okay, yes, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
And we get there. I'm in full pajamas.
You left in your pajamas?
I left in my pajamas.
I understand.
It was the only way I could get there.
We listen and we don't judge. It's
I get there in my pajamas and was like, okay, we can do this. We're like, already, we got this ticket now.
Yeah.
We can get into the, we can get our fees done. And on that day of us actually getting our fees cancelled, our entire class walks past. And everybody is just looking at me in my pajamas, waiting for me, and I'm just waiting for my fees to be paid.
Cancelled. Like you don't count on anything else.
You know what? Me being here in my pajamas, getting my fees, that's my constitutional right here. Yes! I love that! I got my fees paid. And I got to move on with the rest of my course. And
that's the important
the both of us did. And I looked at her and I was like, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so.
Should have listened.
If everybody else can do it, so can we. Yeah.
How crazy is it also that on the day you are wearing pajamas, everybody, it's the same thing as the day you go to the shops. I don't know what you're wearing, you just next thing. And then there comes your crush, next door neighbor, someone's auntie, that man, the photographer. You know, like, how crazy is that? But look at that moment. That was a beautiful moment there. You want to jump in here?
Just a quick, I mean, we probably have to do more in sending out information around financial assistance to every South African. If you look at the for undergrad, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, NSFAS, that should be for every South African, irrespective of your gender, irrespective of your race, irrespective of anything, where you come from, your age. There was I was reading a story that a 70-year-old 2-3 days ago had received funding from NSFAS. The last one was, I think, 63 or so. So it's accessible to everyone. And similarly, the National Research Foundation, which has got bursaries for postgraduate studies, it's run under the Department of Science and Innovation. But also a whole lot of government departments have bursaries for both undergrad and postgrad. And then we also have international scholarships, one of the things we do when we travel, with diplomatic work, government work, is to interact with students who are funded by either the South African government or the host government, who are South Africans who are studying abroad. So there's a whole lot of funding opportunities. Yes, there may not be enough, but they're available. For every South African, and I think we will do more, to make sure that this information is available in every corner of the country. I understand the perception that these opportunities are only available for certain people. That's not the case. That's not the kind of freedom, that we want South Africans to enjoy or to perceive, of this government and its services.
I think also with that, and I'm not so sure, Mr. Buti, I think you can just navigate me here. I think also the information around student, how can I go about food, groceries, the information around that. I've known now how many friends of mine that are like, I didn't know that our institution provides us with meals or with groceries. And I mean, just the other day at a postgrad level, I was talking to a friend, and they said, we were just in a group talking about it, and one pointed out that, well, now it's too late for you to sign up. You should have actually signed up in your first year to be able to receive it all the way through. So I myself don't even know that type of information, whether the do's and don'ts and how to go about navigating it. So I think also information around that, also finding ways to just really get it to everyone and out there, Speaking on a institutional level now, our constitution also calls us to be active citizens, that active citizenship. And it made me wonder that within the context of higher education, do you feel like your voice is taken into account in terms of the big decisions that are made, that decision-making process where actually the Constitution calls us to be co-creators, that's you being an active citizen. Do you feel like that is, I think, something you exercise, where you are co-creating your own learning environment, where you are contributing to it, how things, perhaps yes, how things are even structured, or I think around that. Think about it, from your point of view. I know from my side, in terms of education, we are definitely asked in terms of things around submission dates and due dates and clashing of different tests and assignments, but I can't really say in terms of the structure of things that I can say to my lecturer, actually, I don't think we should learn about education studies. I think we should scrap that entirely off, and for good reason. I do think there are various measures. Of course, they're more knowledgeable than I am, but maybe there's some ideas that you have that could be taken into consideration. And so I think with your answer along, do you feel like your voice is heard? Maybe also share a meaningful where you would contribute towards that decision-making process. Something that popped into mind for you, perhaps, I mean, I know with me, those tiny humans, I don't know, maybe we should do exercises as education teachers, because, hey, you're always on your feet there, so maybe we should have a module that checks your steps. I don't know, maybe that's not the most meaningful, but that would be my contribution towards the conversation. What about you on your side? Tilisha, can you kick us off around there? Do you feel like your voice is heard first?
Personally, this is a conversation I've had with my friends, and they're all students. And we all came to an agreement that no, we are not heard. With institution especially, I feel like our institutions come to us with a decision that's already made, and you are left to give comments instead of they could have came back to you earlier on, discussed it. Maybe someone would have come up with a better suggestion, and maybe meet like a mutual agreement rather than you come to me and you're like, this is what I'm saying. Leave your comments. You already made the decision. Why are you still asking us? Yeah.
Okay.
Where's your SRC?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a good question. That is a very good question, you know.
Okay.
From your point of view, Minister, how far or how much do you think students should be co-creators of that learning environment? Or how can they exercise that being an active citizen in their learning environment?
Yeah. Look, so firstly, in terms of the classroom, I mean, so you would probably know this, Paul Frere's pedagogy.
Yes.
And how he articulates the learning process. And I think with technology now, you know, knowledge is no longer monopolized, you know, by professors. You know, so I can't now say, you know, I'm the minister, so you know, this is what I say. Because so with you know, with artificial intelligence, you know, with the language models, with the internet, you know, it also means that as a teacher you have to learn, you know, from the people supposedly you are supposed to be you know, teaching. And I think we need to appreciate that. Secondly, you know, I can speak about my experience then,
Please
you know,
do.
as an active,
I think,
as an active student.
Yes, please do.
You know, having been in the Student Representative Council, and how we, you know, tried to ensure that we get the voices of the students, you know, on almost any issue that management was taking decisions on. But we also understood that we're not running the institution. Our role is to represent students, and if there's anything that affects students, our role is to raise that, you know, and raise that sharply. Yes, we had protests, but it was after a process. You know, we had to engage, we had to say, these are our issues, these are our demands, and if we agree, then we agree. We, you know, and I think that there has been a lot of progress since then, to open up conversations, you know, between the students and their leadership and you know, and management. One of my experiences now, no longer as a student, you know, but being in the Ministry of Higher Education, has been that engagement, even if we do not agree at the end of the day, you know, but getting to listen to especially students, you know, it helps. So for instance, our approach this year, yes, there were a few protests which we've had throughout campuses, and our target is 0 protests. But it is because we put in place mechanisms to talk to the elected representatives, you know, as to how representative they are. That's something else I could sense in the room, like, those ones, you know. But legally, those are the people we need to be talking to on behalf of students, because I cannot go and speak to each and every student, you know, at TUT or at Tshwane North TVET. So we have that mechanism. And I think it's up to us. And it starts there on campus, you know, to raise questions, to, you know, to walk up there and, you know, raise whatever issues that you think needs to be of the attention of management or of the SRC. You know, and I think over and above that, what that activism does, and it's not, I'm not saying go there and say viva, you know, kick stuff, and you know, it's about, you know, being organized, identifying, you know, common interest. If this thing affects us, and I mean, at university where student activism is so mature, so you have a lot of societies and clubs that you
Yeah.
can, that looks at from hockey to wine and cheese, to architectural social activists and so on and so forth. So active doesn't mean being active in the political sense. It means, when you have time to be outdoors, so you interact with clubs and societies that speaks to your interest. And they become your voice, or you actually assume leadership of those structures. And I think we really want to see more and more of students, actively engaging, especially constructively. Beyond issues of protest, I think it's also looking at, is our campus environmentally friendly, for instance? Is it clean? What can we do as students to contribute into this? This university is not in a, it's not in an island. There are, communities in and around in Pretoria West. How do we interface with those communities? So that for me, I think it's active, citizenry. If it's wrong or if it's right, speak out about it. Engage, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I want to touch on something that you actually identified, those people of the SRC. And you actually raised a point that I didn't even know about. That's who you guys liaison with, talk to about what is happening on campus. How can we use that to grow and develop as higher education in of course the sector? Why is it that what makes you have that negative kind of point of view of the SRC? Why wouldn't you approach them? Mila, I see your hand already shooting up. You are ready. Walk us through it from your experience and point of view.
No, so from my perspective, I would say that for me, my voice has been heard by my institution in some cases. I won't get into the details. But there was once where I was the class representative, and I don't think students actually know what that means. They think that we are the liaison that sweet talks the professor and gets them to do everything.
You get us the extension.
When in actuality, all that we are is they talk to us, we talk to you, you talk to us, we talk to him or her. That's actually what our job is. We're just the messenger.
Okay. Mila, you're not going to give us an extension?
No, but basically what happened was we'd only received our first marks for a subject.
Okay.
And I was then informed by the lecturer to inform everyone else that the marks would be out at 2 o'clock that same day.
Okay.
They did not take that well. Knowing that their own marks, my own mark for that test one was 20%. It was bad.
Yeah.
Someone got 100%. One person got 100%.
We should check the emails of that one, eh?
But basically, it got so bad that I was receiving death threats in the group in other languages as well. And someone went above me and every other chain of command and tattled to the SRC or SFC. And they contacted the lecturer. And the lecturer gave in and had a sick test because they didn't want to deal with the whole issue. So that's why I don't always enjoy it, because students won't send an email to the lecturer if there's something wrong. They won't send an email to the class representative. They'll bottle it up, and then when they get to the boiling point and they have enough people behind them, they'll tattle to the person that they think will get them what they want.
So understanding kind of where we should go, who we should talk to, and also the different roles that each person has, perhaps. I think also tying that to actually understanding what is the SRC's job and what are their responsibilities. I know for me, I think because I lack that understanding, perhaps that's not why I often went to them. What about you, Tanisha? What is your view on the SRC first, and what makes you have that negative kind of feel for them?
I don't really have a negative feel for it. I think, as you said, students aren't really informed as to what they stand for and what they should do. That's why students will often run to SRCs when they're angry. Instead of going to the SRC, just talking, this is my problem, how do I address it? So they reach a boiling point before they get there.
So from the inception of the problem, that's when we should then start roping in SRC, start talking to them. Not when we're ready to bend tires.
Yes, because now you're running to them, you're relying on the fact that, oh no, we are going to go toi, you are going to burn these tires.
Not understand
which is a
they
problem.
also, as you've pointed out, have procedures set in place. Okay, I want to hop on over to your side, Zimkita. What about you? What are your thoughts and experiences of the SRC? And do you think they've been there to assist you and guide you through?
On my side, I don't want to agree with the fact that they have guided us through as in fully. Because, okay, basically, in our campus, those people, I feel like they've got like this manipulative language whereby we will hold meetings with them, they say they're writing emails, but sometimes we don't get responses from them. So that would be my problem with them.
Yeah.
We don't actually get responses at the right time that we're supposed to get them.
Yeah.
Maybe the time they will give responses whereby maybe the students are tending to talk about protest and all that stuff, then that's when they'll come back and respond.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so line of communication also. If we have a meeting today and certain things are set out, getting feedback on it, you know. And I think actually that relates to so many students because you don't get that feedback. You don't know, should I go again to the SRC and liaise with them the problem that I have, you know, which I think is an interesting point, maybe something we should all bring up with various institutions, to sit down with our SRC and be like, okay guys, let's have a serious conversation. This is how we need to be communicating with the students to gain their trust, you know, so that we can move forward then and bring it to, say, for example, Mr. Buti Manamela, and where to take it from there.
What is freedom? Because I think it's an important question relating to what we're talking about. So, and I think we see institutions as, you know, I'll go to them, they'll help. I'll go to them, they'll intervene. And I think for me, freedom is being empowered to be able to do the things that you're able to do or that you want to do. You know, so that the type of independence,
agency.
And so the role of the state must not be to do the things for you, but the role of the state must be to facilitate so that you are able to do the things for yourself. You know, so if you want to be a musician, there has to be platforms where you can freely express yourself as a musician. You know, not that the government must, you know, get you to play the trumpet well or whatever instrument that you play. You know, so that facilitation of, you know, me as an individual getting all of these skills and resources through institutions that the state has created for me to be able to independently live. You know, I don't think, you know, we desire to either depend on, you know, in perpetuity, either on government grants, either in education or anything of the sort. I think all of us want to be self-sufficient. And freedom should mean the ability to be self-sufficient. Probably in a nutshell, I think from what I'm hearing is, yes, there are institutions and there are systems, but importantly, we want to be able to do things for ourselves. And so these institutions have to facilitate, you know, that process.
Then, Mr. Buti, how would you then go about like advising us? I think there's many of us here, we have the idea that we want to kick start on campus, or perhaps we're noticing a gap on campus. How do we then go about like starting it off? Out of fear that there's so many different barriers and we should first talk to so-and-so and manage this and first communicate with that person. How would you advise to start something, initiate it, have that active citizenship?
I think institutions should be doing much more to ensure that information is in the hands of students. You know, if you know, I'm going to be a student here, I need to know what happens if I feel unsafe, if I feel sick, if I'm hungry, you know, or if I can cope with my exam before I write it, not after. I'm surprised by my results.
You're learning as you are writing,
exactly,
you know,
you know, so what institutions can I go to? You know, I mean, I don't know how many of you before this, you know, have you known about higher health, and how many other students know about it? How many other students know that if you are, you know, sexually harassed or raped, or you know, where do you go to? Who do you speak to? You know, if someone, you know, says things about you either based on your sexual orientation, race, on your you know, disability, what do you do? And I think institutions have the responsibility, and many institutions have been good at that, you know, at ensuring that students have that information. And I think you know, where you are probably not getting you know, that information, go ask questions, ask someone, the SRC, the class rep, you know, everyone or someone who's been put in some level of authority or managerial responsibility, you know, to give you that information. And I think once you have it, once you know what to do, it would also be easier to be able to tell the next person, you know, in terms of what to do. As to leadership, I mean, you know, it's I know it's mostly facilitated through political activism. People have to be in political parties, student political formations for them to, you know, to be in the SRCs. I think that's someone's choice, you know, or whether you want to be an independent, I think that's someone's choice. And if ever that's what they want to pursue, you know, because, you know, probably you just want to stay indoors. You know, so... so I don't know. I don't have advice. Not on that. I haven't been on campus in years as a student, so I don't know what are the dynamics now. You know,
You touched on something though that I think is also very important, and that's the aspect of safety, you know, and I think freedom also ties in with that. Your ability to freely express yourself, which is what we've defined freedom as, relates so closely with you feeling free and you feeling that you are comfortable to do so. Can you recall or identify instances or perhaps gaps where you feel your institution can do more to ensure that you feel that freedom, so that you're able to express yourself more freely, to be able to do more, to be more? I think, Buti, you want to kick us off, and from your perspective as part of the LGBTQAI plus community, and your feeling of feeling safe, what more can be done to assist you, to aid you, the community to be more of themselves, you know?
Okay, so with me, I think people can be educated about the LGBTQ, because I feel like we still come across people that don't understand what the LGBTQ means and the type of people that we are. We are not monsters to the community. We're still human beings, but we express ourselves differently. So I think mostly education within institutions as well, because we still find people that would really discriminate us, you know, with lack of understanding of, okay, how we want to be treated. Because at the end of the day, we have rights that we want to exercise. We don't want to be left out in opportunities where maybe people feel like, no, only straight people are allowed to be in this space or whatever. So I think with me exercising my right, we are in my center. We are currently busy with my team. We're currently busy with trying to do an awareness campaign where we're gonna teach other students about the LGBTQ, because you find, for an instance, in a class where maybe a gay guy passes by and then other straight guys laugh at him. You understand? So, and it really also affects the mental wellness of a person, because you didn't just wake up overnight and decide to be gay all of a sudden. It's rooted like within. You understand? So I think people lack understanding and education on that. So another thing that we are struggling with in the institutions is in my center, which is not having classes. Because now we're going to have students that are writing in May, June. So we don't have teachers that are used up to actually invest their time to do revision classes and all of that. So we've implemented peer tutoring amongst our learners, where I, as a learner, if I'm good in a certain subject, I advocate and say, you know what, guys, I'm going to help and teach you this so that you guys are able to upgrade your marks. Yes.
And then what kind of assistance do you think you would need from your institution to kind of better help you with those 2 different campaigns that you've started?
So for the first one, the peer tutoring, we are lacking learning materials. So unlike in other institutions like universities and TVETs, we literally have no textbooks, no gadgets, nothing, literally nothing. It's just us and the tutors, the lecturers. And sometimes you find that we have underqualified lecturers. So I think, unlike kicking people out of the schools and saying, no, you're underqualified, how about we bring about workshops that are going to assist teachers to improve their teaching styles, right? Pick up learners that are good in certain subjects, teach them how to teach other learners properly. Because I feel like whenever you're going to teach, you teach in your own context with whatever that you understand. Whereas there are people that have studied the teaching, right? They know this better. So I think we would be happy if we were assisted with learning materials, gadgets, because we still have students that are struggling with not having phones. It's very hard. Imagine you're upgrading without a phone. It's just you trying to find information. Sometimes you find teachers that are bringing their own printers for us so that we have learning material. And if that printer gets damaged, who pays for it? Nobody does. So if we can get assistance in that, we would really appreciate. Yes.
Do you want to jump in here?
Look, we'll have to follow up on this because I think if they're affecting health center, I think it's something that we need to look at broadly, and how we could resolve it. I was made aware of some of these challenges, and I think we'll have to see what progress has been made. But I think just to so CET, community colleges have it's for general education and training certification. So that's people who haven't gone to school at all. Firstly. Secondly, we will be introducing a national senior certificate for adults that would be the equivalent of the current national senior certificate or grade 12, which will be the anchor qualification at the community colleges, which will provide a combination of mathematics, language proficiency, problem solving, and so on and so forth, but also include vocational skills. We've asked our TVET branch and our community college branch to look at how we can use, instead of using schools, use TVET colleges as spaces for community colleges. Some of the TVET colleges run from 8 until 3. That space is not used. Weekends, that space is not used. And that's something that we're going to be trying out so that it's not just about doing 2 or 3 subjects at grade 12 and improving that, but that you can also take up a skill, and graduate, but also the infrastructure is much better, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the things which we're working on. And then, a way to distribute learning material digitally. So even if you don't get the actual laptop, I see she's got an iPad there. Some people have got phones. I think we have those technologies, and with people working around the clock to try and ensure that we, ease up, learning in this regard. But I think specifically with regards to the center, I would want to follow up and just see how we can, even support the projects that you're talking about.
And that's the beauty of these conversations, you know, it's not really, again, just to remind you to name and shame and blame and point fingers, but to remind us of the challenges that are realities for people and to see the gap and see how we can work together, government institutions as well as students, to bridge these gaps, to find a way to work forward, not only for ourselves, but also for future people. What about the LGBTQAI campaign you have going on?
So with the LGBTQ campaign, we are planning to have maybe public figures that are going to come to our CET, maybe educate people. Because I know if I go up there by the podium and say, no, LGBT is this, they're gonna be like, Buti Manamela, we see you every day, stop playing with us. So if we can bring a public figure that is gonna grab people's attention, stretch out the education within the LGBTQ sector, I think that would really be efficient within our schools, because it's very hard. I still face challenges myself where people are like, this boy. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not a boy. I'm not a boy. I'm just a woman, you know. I'm just masculine presenting, because a lot of people are gonna be like, she's trying to be a man, she's trying to be a boy. No, I just love dressing like that. It's my freedom to express myself like that at the end of the day, right? You can't tell me what to do. I have a right.
Yes,
I have a right.
Clock it.
Yes. So it's us taking ownership and standing up as the LGBTQ community, because it's not fair. Why should other people walk freely and exercise their rights freely, whereas us, you even scared, maybe a gay guy is even scared to show up in a dress because they think, okay, this guy is going to judge me, he's going to say, no, I'm not a man enough. It's not about being a man enough. It's about you expressing yourself and being comfortable in who you are. Because at the end of the day, you can't live up to people's expectations. The society will always talk, wherever, even if you do good or you do bad. So live up for yourself, not for other people, because you're gonna be mentally messed up if you're gonna live for people. You know, impressing people, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, because when you get indoors in your closet, you're like, Mara, what was I doing there?
What was I thinking? Why did I do that?
Actually, you understand? So you need to be comfortable with who you are. With me, I have a positive attitude. Whenever I come into a place, you're going to be shocked. Who's this now? You know, with my hairstyle, people always ask me, you're a hairstyle man. You know, I'm like, this is who I am. I need to leave a signature when I come into a place. Yes, most definitely.
You know, you're reminding me of a time I embarrassed myself so bad. I learned a new word, kaleidoscopic, but I completely forgot what it means. I just love the word. I was like, oh, kaleidoscopic. So I was asked, how are you feeling today? I was like, I feel kaleidoscopic. I'm like, what was I thinking? Why did I even say that? I completely forgot the meaning of the word. I want to hop on over to you, Londiwe. What about you in terms of safety on campus? What more do you think can be done to make you feel safe so that you feel ready to express your full potential and live out your freedom?
Okay. In my campus now, actually in my campus, the campus, we are safe.
Okay.
We are safe, everything is fine, but there was this issue of, as you know, that the native student, they do the semesters is 1 year, 6 months. But there was a time whereby we have shortage of lectures. We have shortage of lectures, and we have a small term. We are semesters. Then the whole month we don't have a lecture. And some students they don't have laptop, and we have to practice information process. Need a laptop so that you can be familiar with the system.
And how it works.
And some that are new students. Luckily, I'm from level. I have experience
with it.
With that. Then I didn't mind. But what about other new students that don't have the laptop and they didn't get NSFAS? They don't even know where to get money to buy those laptops. But after around March we have to write a test, the task 1, then we have to write mini exam, then final exam. We don't have a lecture that time. Then you say, we have SRC. Where can you just go and approach them and ask them about the issue of the lectures? Then SRC. They said we'll come back to you, and then they go to campus manager. The campus manager said that we'll solve the issues. It end up one lecture teaches maybe 4 classes or 5 classes, and the period clash. So this was the issue at our campus. We have shortage of lectures, as actually, I have a question, ministers.
Yes.
As they are phasing out the NATED, they are introducing occupational program. Some students, they didn't have fund to get the in-service, the work experience. I've read some on Facebook. There's this a girl. She said, I finished in 2018, but I didn't get any fund to do to do a work experience and get my diploma. Even now, she's still stuck. So I just want to know how will you resolve this issue about the TVET college who don't have funds to do a work experience?
Yeah. So that's our major priority. I mean, 3 years ago, the president set a target at 10,000, so that we had to mobilize 10,000 students who didn't have workplace experience and support them so that they complete. In that first year, we exceeded that 10,000 to about 16,000, which made us realize that the demand is huge. And we set it at 20,000 for the following year. And for this year, we've set it up at 22,000. But I still think that that's, it's still under what the demand. In fact, I think there's an association of students that wrote to me saying they represent about 30,000 of students who fall into that category. And, so with the right system, with sending out information, and I think people should go to their colleges, find out what programs are available, work placements that are available for them to take them up. We've gotten the National Skills Fund, we've gotten the CETAs, to specifically recruit students who have completed their NATED but do not have workplace experience. I'm also having discussions with industry together with the deputy ministers so that they open their doors, because if we can commit even the resources to support the NATED program graduates, but if industry does not open their doors, then that wouldn't help. So part of our discussion with them is how do we design workplace learning in such a way that when students complete and graduate from that program, they're ready for work. So that's our major priority. Yes, 22,000 target for this year, but with proper resources, we think we can wipe these out. Of course, we are actively encouraging for occupational trades. Now, occupational trades, that's where you spend some time in the classroom and some time in the workplace. So it's something that's very active in universities of technology. It's been quite active in TVET colleges historically, but in TVET colleges, it was left in the hands of students to find. So now we've structured it in the administration. The TVET college must work with industry to find that placement. I mean, TUT has got a long list of companies that they work with. UJ is the same, and so on. So we want to get to that level with TVET colleges. I know at the TVET college where I studied, we had partnership with Ford. With some of the upholstery companies around there, some of the telecoms companies. So students could be placed in those opportunities. And that's where we want to go back to. Where we don't have those opportunities available, the institution build incubation centers where students can first practice that which in the form of entrepreneurship. We're supporting workshops, centers of specialization. I think, we're looking at one at Tshwane North. Tshwane South has got one of the best center of specialization, comparatively speaking. So that's where, some of the students who are from NATED qualifications should be able to get that experiential exposure, transferring their theory knowledge into practice. So there are programs and targeted programs for that specific core of students that we have been working on for the last 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Just one question coming through from my side for you, Minister, before I open the floor to all of your comments, questions, and of course queries. Many times, and I think many of us sitting in the room are wondering what happens after I graduate. What happens? I've got it now. What happens next? And there's this notion and this consistent question of, are we only being prepared for graduation? Or am I being prepared actually for the workspace? And I think a common question that comes up is, how then are we ensuring that students are field ready, going beyond just graduation day?
So the president spoke about every form of training, of skills, must be linked to employment. And so that's why we're phasing out NATED programs, because it's about what's available as opposed to what's being demanded out there in the market. So those are being phased out. But also we are insisting, with the National Skills Fund, with our CETAs, that whatever training that they'll be doing moving forward must be linked to jobs. So it means you'll have to go and knock at each and every factory and say, what skills do you need? If you are in Pretoria and you're going to offer office management, there must be evidence that within that region there's a big demand. Of course, that's the capital city of the country, so there will be demand for people with office practice, and so on and so forth. So those are the type of things that we are working at. But just at a general level, we are organizing the programs that are being offered in universities, in universities of technology, in TVET colleges and community colleges, along these 5 lines. The demand for skills in mining, which is a major demand. The demand for skills in technologies, especially digital technologies, artificial intelligence, that's the second priority. Just energy transition, so the green economy, solar installers, and so on and so forth. So those are the type of, and then in infrastructure, there was huge announcements. So it means we'll need civil engineers, we'll need architectures, for all of that in terms of, infrastructure. And then strengthening the capacity of the state. That means if you go into a government department, you don't find an official that doesn't know how to help you. So you give them those skills. And so, yes, there are a whole range of other areas. Some of them cuts across, supply chain, and so on and so forth, logistics. Some of those cut across. But essentially, over time, we don't want a situation where in universities, colleges, TVETs alone decide on what training should happen. But that training must include industry. That training has to lead to some form of employment. And that's the system that's happening all over the world, in China, in Germany, in Switzerland. I was in Switzerland and I met PhD students who graduated their masters here in South Africa. And they were telling me that for them to graduate as PhD student, they have to produce something. So you got to show that, for you to show that you really know the subject that you've been studying, you are an expert, you must produce something. It could be tangible, it could be a system, it could be a framework, and some of them have produced very amazing products which are now being used, and I think this is the students that I met in France who, contributed into the company where they were placed for experience, so So that's the kind of direction that we need to go. That, you know, doing a master's degree shouldn't be just for the sake of it. It should be, I want to contribute new knowledge, which is what it's about. Doing a PhD must be, I want to contribute new knowledge, new products, something tangible that will have an impact. And I think that's one of the ways in which we can almost guarantee that our education system will lead to either jobs or entrepreneurship or self-sufficiency of you know, one sort or another. And yes, we have to fix some of the stuff in the economy. The economy has not been growing for, you know, post-COVID. You know, so those are some of the things that you know, I think through initiatives that the president has led, interventions that seeks to resolve that part. But we have to do our part as institutions of learning to make sure that we provide the skills that the economy needs.
I love that. I'm going to open up the floor to a couple of questions coming through from online. Sisanda is saying, I'm here regarding in-service training. I want to ask why NSFAS does not cover 18 months of in-service, because it is still part of learning, and after N6, we as TVET Colleges students are struggling. Some have to volunteer, and it is hard because some of us do not have the knowledge for it.
I fully agree. We actually have a discussion, I think it's tomorrow in the afternoon, to try and finalize that part. And I think it will obviously not kick in immediately, but it's something that we're looking at, to look at workplace experience as part of learning. More so, especially with employers who are paying, you know, levies. So that's an issue that's on top of the agenda, and I think it's linked to the question you asked earlier. You know, so look at opportunities that the National Skills Fund has advertised. I think they must go to their college and inquire about that, and you know, what opportunities exist for workplace placement, and then so for that you do not need this new dispensation that we're discussing with the NSFAS to, you know, to pay up. Remember, once we phase out nated programs, it also means, you know, some money that are supposed to be going to TVET colleges, I mean, to those programs, have to go somewhere, and they have to go to occupational trades.
Another one is coming through from Manqoba, saying there are more than 100,000 students who can't graduate from college and universities due to student debt. When are we going to address the student debt challenges as a country?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Quite a meaty one,
quite a question. So we, at a policy level, the discussion is taking place in two fronts. I think some of you might have heard last year, you know, there was the story about 13.5 billion rand in excess at the NSFAS, which we had to go to Treasury to ask for more. And that's part of the challenges at NSFAS. So we're looking at this, you know, those problems at NSFAS together with, you know, the student debt. How do we ease the burden, you know, on the student? How do we get them to get their qualifications? Because some of them, you know, have skills that we require in the economy, and could be some of those who are unemployed. You know, so that's our priority, and I think our commitment is that at least in the coming year, we will know what should be done comprehensively in terms of student funding, in terms of the you know, student debt, which goes up to you know, a couple of billions. I'm not certain about the number of 100,000 students, you know, but I know that student debt is quite significant. We had a compact with universities which we have to revisit, where we agreed that even in cases where students owe the university, that they're given their result, especially in cases where they're supposed to be employed, because it's counterproductive
To
refuse someone their qualification because they owe you when they are on the verge of getting employment or
and that qualification is needed as
so we'll need to revisit that and then accelerate changes in the laws so that we shouldn't get results withheld because someone owes the institution. But we also have the responsibility if you owe the university and your income allows once you get employed, repay your debt.
Yeah. There's so many comments and questions, but I'm being told that we're running out of time. And I think such a conversation can go on for hours and hours because there's so much to share. I want to read a couple of comments that we're getting through. Musa's agreeing, saying, yes, the SRC has a huge role to play when it comes to assisting students. However, there are limited roles in terms of influence. We've got another one coming through from Abigail saying, I commend the inclusion and representation of students with special educational needs and just so many more. So thank you so much for joining in the conversation. It really has been quite a fun one. I'm going to take some final thoughts, final comments that you would love to share before we wrap things up. Buti Manamela, please kick us off.
Hey, I feel like man, I won't sleep well if I don't address this today.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm exercising my rights.
So,
no, man, I really want to advocate for the SRC. Right? A lot of people are focusing on the negative more than the positive.
Yeah, that's true,
and people forget that the SRC are the people that are taking bullets for you guys. They advocate for you guys. If they're being scolded by whoever they're approaching, they need to take it. And you guys need to come. You come and complain to them. You guys are not doing this. You guys doing that. But you forget that they have so much to do. They have so much to advocate for you. So I think it's only fair for you guys to be thoughtful and be considerate of the work they do within your institutions. And Minister, I have a question. So I have a friend who is a student in Guatemala CLC in Eguruleni. So this CLC, they are struggling. They had rented a block in a certain school, and now they are being kicked out of that school. And right now they're going to have their May, June exams, and we are really worried how those exams are going to be carried out, because it's really disheartening to lack a venue to write your exams. It's threatening your future, and a number of people dropping out is really going to increase. You know, people are going to be discouraged and be like, what's the point of me doing this if our CET center doesn't have a venue to write our exams? So my question to you, Honorable Minister, is that how are you working around minimizing CET colleges that don't have exam centers, or they don't have their own building where they go? Because I feel like it's only fair, and it would be a very good proposal to have CET centers that are going to have their own buildings, unlike renting into schools and then being kicked out anytime when the principal feels like it. It's not fair. Because hey guys, we're really struggling as the CET. I feel like you universities and TVET have nice life problems. Some of us are really struggling out there. So I really would love to hear how you carry that out, sir.
Look, so a couple of years ago when I was a student at a TVET college, this is exactly what we used to express about TVET colleges. And I'm quite happy that what we're talking about now is that TVET colleges are at a certain level and they can only go up. And that's why we've made community colleges our priority. Priority in terms of infrastructure. I've spoken about the plans to get to use TVET college space. I'll look at this Guatemala issue and also get to understand if there are any of the CLC centers that have challenges with regard to examination before exams start, so that we get to resolve those. And I think we need to, yes, we appreciate the many principals who have allowed our community colleges to operate in their schools. But I think it's unfortunate, for whatever reason, that a school principal would decide to kick out a community college. That's public institutions. And they should be used commonly by the public. It's a discussion we've had consistently with the Department of Basic Education. And then yes, there are plant infrastructure in the pipeline for CET colleges, but we obviously cannot do all of them at once. I know some of them are in Gauteng, some are new infrastructure, some are being refurbished, so that we are able to have better quality. But I think the intervention where we use TVET colleges afternoon and in the weekends, would be a big game changer, for community colleges. So that's the major one which we're pushing. But also we have so many of the CLCs, so we'll need to rationalize, but of course maintaining access, we'll need to rationalize some of them. We've also got so many lecturers. I'm surprised that there are places where there's shortages, but it's something that we're also looking at. Lecturers who are capable, and so on. I mean, the university students here were talking about access to this or that. Even being a civil engineer, you've got access to this or that. And those are, I think, taking advantage of the available technology. That's the world that should be opened to every student in the country. And that's our dream.
Thank you so much for that. I think, again, this conversation is just bringing to light how we can work together as a collective to fill those gaps up and to move forward. Any final thoughts from your side, Londiwe? Anything that's coming to mind? Final thoughts? How's this experience been for you?
Yeah. I'm so happy. This is an opportunity for me, like, to meet our own minister.
Yes.
See him, I see him on TV. Like, now I can see him in real.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to meet him.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to meet other students.
Yes. Thank you for your contributions today. Simkita, what about you? Any final thoughts that you'd love to share with us?
Just like to thank you the privilege that we now have as students with special needs. Like this program of inclusive education is now developing in many, even in different institutions, because it's now taking place even in colleges, you see. So it's such a privilege for us with special needs that we are now having that access to education as every other person.
Yeah, that ability to live out your constitutional rights.
Yes.
Right? Awesome. I'm going to hop on over to this side. Your final thoughts, anything you'd love to share?
There is one thing. So one of my friends, I have been bullying her a little bit.
I know.
Because she refuses to get her eyes tested because it's too expensive. But she does need glasses. She will look at something far away and she will be like, what does that say? And I will say, it says this number, point this number. And she'll be like, you are lying to me, there is nothing on that screen. And I keep telling her that she needs glasses. But then she says that no, glasses will make her more reliant on her eyesight and it will make it worse. And I tell her no. The thing is that people who don't have glasses that need them learn to stop watching something before their eyes get sore. Because it hurts already. But the second that they get access to the new world, they watch too much and then their eyes actually get sore and then they blame the glasses. But I've even told her that she can just go and get tested and then maybe if it's just a +1 or a +1.5, then she can just go and get a cheaper pair of glasses. But she refuses to because it's too much time and too much money.
So again, I think working with institutions again to see how we can provide also not only just like eyesight, but also the conversation around mental health, which is a whole conversation of its own, especially in a post-grad level. But thank you again for bringing that to light. Final thoughts, anything that you'd love to share?
For me personally, I think we really need to be grateful for how far we've come and also applaud our SRCs as much as we can't only know them for strikes. They stand for students.
You're right.
They really stand their ground and they fight for us.
They're very passionate.
It's important for us to acknowledge them and be grateful for them.
Pluck it,
That's it.
Yes. Thank you so much.
In fact, where there are no strikes, it means the SRC is working even harder.
Exactly.
Yes. To have that conversation, right? Yeah. Any final thoughts? Anything you'd love to share from your side?
Mr. Manamela, the one question that I don't get to ask you is that in South Africa, yes, we do, and you touched on all of these as you spoke, the first thing you touched on was that education is not a monopoly anymore. It is very technology centered.
Yeah.
And the first thing you touched on was that we have one of the greatest constitutions in the world. And I would just like to surface around that, saying that the reason we have one of the greatest constitutions in the world is that it is because it is based on human experience and a lived experience, which makes it a very powerful story to tell other countries, and for other countries to also understand by. But in saying that, the education system protects a system of education. And AI is getting to the point where it's becoming very intelligent, where we at educational phases, we're testing that can this intelligence, which is not human, replace human thinking? And by saying that, what happens to people that are then, in 10 years' time, self-taught these careers we are now going into for 4 years? I mean, what happens?
I wasn't ready.
What happens to the right of education, which is the right I have, but I don't have the right to intelligence?
Yeah.
So how do we start mitigating this going forward? Because this is the problem that actually lies within universities right now. The preservation of human critical thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, there is currently a discussion on the country's policy on artificial intelligence. And I think we need to contribute to that, meaning us who are here, because whether you're in office management, whether in civil engineering, or completing your your matric or supply chain, in one way or another, artificial intelligence is going to have an effect either on your work, on your life, etc., etc. So that's the first. The second thing is that we have to accept that institutionalizing education is a thing of the past. Okay? So yes, we need the institutional platforms to validate that the knowledge that we have, satisfies certain competence. I think as is now, we just make an assessment of your theoretical understanding of the subject. And I think if we push it to test people's competence, then it means that, that knowledge generated from that platform, is going to be useful. Now, the ethical question, because I think it's less a technology and more an ethical, well, not just ethical, but I think it's also about what becomes the form of social relations moving forward. How do we interact amongst ourselves? How do we, what's our relationship with, with knowledge that's generated by us, by the way, because the thinking process that happens with language model is based on the input we give to them and the training we supply to them. So there are obviously ethical issues that are involved. From the simple thing around do you submit your own work? Or can you prove that the knowledge you're submitting for recognition by a university was actually done by you? We've had a couple of cases reported where, people overtly use artificial intelligence for purposes of their academic work and research, and so on. So that's one of the things that we need to deal with. But at the end of the day, the interface between human intelligence and artificial intelligence is something that's inevitable, but we must not leave our human intelligence in the dumpster. That still remains, you know.
So from my understanding, other countries are putting laws around it, but not against it.
Yes.
Particularly. So like China is creating laws where only influencers who have a degree can speak that information. And in India, they're building their own AI. And in other countries, they're approaching it from all other angles, but forward. And so I just wanted to understand how our country is approaching it, because we cannot write law about AI towards human thinking, but have it from an AI perspective, because then from the very outset, we are on the back foot. We are also not leaving any intellectual and critical thinking for the future generation going forward.
No. That's why, you know, it's.
Sorry,
Okay,
as an architectural student, we were actually supposed to come with a answer with a problem. We're never supposed to come with a problem. So my approach to this is actually a very nuanced approach, because it's coming from different faculties or professions, and each profession would deal with AI differently. Like in architecture, you can't really write it to use it to write a dissertation about a building that you are designing. However, for me, there are two sides to it, right? It does have a design component, but it should not be used to make human choices. But it also has a side to it that is very infographic. It's information that I'm going to source from somewhere anyway. But I need to check that those sources are credible as a human. And so there's two sides to it. There's a side where it can make informed decisions, but it cannot make the choice, right? As a human, we make that choice whether to use it or not to use it, or to use it with our understanding. And then there's infographic things where this is just information which I would have looked for and searched for and copy pasted, because it's not my information. It's something that I have to use to do the design. So for us, at least my understanding of it, is that in AI, the approach should go back to the university and let each faculty understand how they would approach it, and then it goes back to higher ranks.
Let's look at that. But I think importantly what we need to say on Freedom Day is that our objective will be to make sure that everyone has some form of training as it relates to artificial intelligence. That for me, I think, is, and secondly, we need to encourage everyone to use artificial intelligence. And thirdly, you know, we should actively train young people into building some of these models. You know, that's the sovereignty that you're talking about that is happening in India, in China, and in various other countries. And we need to, you know, encourage that. We need South African-based AI models that speaks our language, that understands our behavior, that understands that, you know, what a mkuku is, what a shack is, and why it is on its own a work of civil engineering and a work of design, and that it needs to be improved in particular ways. So that's the third thing that we need to encourage. And I take your point that the conversation has to start bottom up about what our approach in artificial intelligence is going to be. But in many institutions, TUT to say the least, is one of the leading universities, not just in the country, even in the continent, around artificial intelligence. Some of the respected scholars from the University of Johannesburg, one of your former vice chancellors, a leading scholar in terms of artificial intelligence. And so we haven't been slagging, you know, as a country. I think But importantly, we must make sure that at every little corner of this country, there must be emphasis on digital literacy, access to all of these, tools, because they equalize. It means whether you're studying at TUT or at Tshwane South or at a CET college, you all have access to the same information, to the same. Therefore, can proudly say that you all South Africans.
Yes. Wow. That brings us to exactly 3 minutes before we're supposed to wrap up. So we did a good job with keeping time. No South African time. I'm proud of us, hey? On that note, I think something that we can definitely, a golden thread I'm seeing in each of the conversations we've had, in each of the experiences we've shared, is that it's a shared responsibility. Higher education within, or rather freedom within the higher education sector is a shared responsibility, not only for students, not only for government, and not only for institution, but rather for all three. And it's actually a continuous working effort together to move with the times and ensure that freedom is always achieved as times are moving. But again, it's that shared collaborative effort. It's been absolutely amazing engaging with you. Thank you so much for your contributions from home as well. We'll definitely catch you in the next one. And until then, always remember that innate ability you have inside of you, that matters. But only your consistent effort will yield you great results.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks to God.
Amazing. Are we
Where
good?
the chocolates? Where the chocolates? I've got some chocolate.